record.
Okay. Hello, and welcome to the 10 Dimensions of Wellness, the podcast where we explore what it means to live well in every area of life. Each week, we dive into one of the 10 dimensions, whether it's physical, emotional, spiritual, and all the others, to understand how each one supports the total wellness. Today's guest is Meisha Pon, founder of MyCircle Retreats. And as a mother, an immigrant, and a Black woman, Meisha brings a powerful perspective to the emotional wellness space. Her work centers on helping moms shed the guilt of self-care, face the emotional wounds of their upbringing, and return to themselves in a world that constantly asks them to give more. Through her 7-day retreats rooted in yoga, breathwork, and trauma-informed care, Meisha is building a legacy of honesty, healing, and wholeness. Let's get into today's conversation. Hi, Meisha.
Hey, Mika.
How are you, hon? It's good to see your face. I've been looking forward to this conversation for a minute.
I've been looking forward to this conversation too, and it's so good to see you. Thank you for having me. And I love the intro, like, yes. And I'm excited to talk about helping moms release guilt from, practicing self-care, and how do we step into that honesty?
And how do we step into that? So let's go back to the beginning then. So what was a moment or the season that cracked something open in you and brought you into this work?
So for me, I was taught and programmed to think that, you go to school, get your education, get an advanced degree, and then you basically have the pipe dream of the corner office. And so I worked really hard towards getting that.
Yeah.
The more that I did that, and then when I decided to have a family, I chose to be a mom, and then trying to balance the two, where I started to feel guilty for pursuing my career, and at the same time trying to grapple with how do I bring balance for the life that I chose. Like, I chose to bring my daughter here, and so how do I reconcile this decision or this thought that I had from an early age that success and professional success meant the corner office, and even if it meant that I was away from home all the time, because traveling internationally, there are times when I knew who was at the airport because of how frequently I was at the airport.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, you chase this dream, and then I started realizing, like, even the dream, when it's realized, wasn't filling me the way that I needed it to. So after having my daughter changed my perspective in a lot of ways. It forced me to, and I was doing work on myself, like healing work, going to therapy, talk therapy, EMDR, all the therapies you can think of, to help prepare me to be the best version of myself while entering this motherhood phase. But what I found was that when my daughter actually arrived, there were things that I thought I dealt with that just kept repeating. Like, it would just come up. It kept showing up or manifesting or coming back up in ways that I needed to sit with. So I realized that through that experience and then talking with other moms, that my experience is not unique. We get programming, or we get information that we are taught from a very early age based on our environment to be something, aspire to be something that, whether, like, that may not have come from us, and may have come from our environment.
That was going to be one of my questions. I'm like, was that even your dream, or that was a dream that was implanted in you? Yeah,
exactly. It was the dream that was given to me, and I adopted it as my own.
Right.
And I had to dismantle that. And as in the process of dismantling it, I realized that, you know, because I'm not unique in the sense that there are other moms dealing with this. And at the same time, I didn't find that there were a lot of safe spaces where we could talk about it,
Yeah.
because there's there's a lot of, when it comes to emotions, there's a wide range of emotions that comes along with the experience and the journey, and we
Yeah.
need safe spaces to talk about it and not feel like because we think it that it's bad. It's a
Right.
part of the human experience.
Yeah.
So that's what shifted me into wanting to create space with my circle, to hold space for moms to feel safe, to feel seen, and then at the same time kind of deconstruct the ideas and thoughts or dreams and goals that we have for ourselves and figure out if they're our own goals or if they were
Yeah.
given.
Misha, I wish there was something like that around when I was a young mother. My daughter is grown now, but listening to you speak and hearing how you felt and recognizing feelings that I had back then, but didn't know how to express them or what words to use.
Mhm.
Feeling like you were alone or like something's wrong with you. It's like, what's wrong with me? And then the guilt and the shame for questioning, what you're feeling and like, is this the right path and all this stuff. So this is beautiful, beautiful work that you're doing. I'm so excited to get into it. So
Thank
I'm going to
you.
say, I'm going to ask you this. So you said before that marriage and motherhood were mirrors for your emotional growth. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Absolutely. So I oftentimes talk about the two pivotal moments in my life that changed the trajectory of my own healing. And so with my marriage came first. And through that lens, it gave me an opportunity to see, talking about environments and things that we were taught growing up, how to
Yeah.
communicate, how to express our needs, how to express our emotions.
Yeah.
Um, we're all coming to a fold, if that makes sense, or coming to a head, if that makes sense. More, I
Hmm.
think that's more of an expression. Because when you bring a union, bring two people together, and you're expecting them to spend the rest of their lives or even share a home in very intimate
Right.
spaces, it's very critical to understand how to, one, manage emotions, learn how to communicate those emotions effectively and in a healthy way.
Hmm.
And so it was a mirror for the things that I needed to work on, such as my communication style and skills.
Yeah.
um, and it was critical to me realizing that when it comes to this partnership, it is very important to, it helped me to be more open.
Hmm.
So, like, be more malleable in the sense that what I've known all my life may have gotten me here, but for me to get to where I want to go, I
Yeah.
need to be open to be able to
Yeah.
learn and pick up new things
Yeah.
that's going to benefit me and benefit my partner. So that was one of the big lessons for me in my relationship with my partner, and I would say that it is so fundamental, and it has helped me also in my relationship with my daughter. So, like, my daughter is a different kind of different, and from a different lens, because she mirrored the wounds that I
Hmm.
still have or
Hmm.
had, and I thought I dealt with. So, for example, you know, um, I was actually saying this to myself this week about how this healing journey, and having her in my life has given me the opportunity and the permission as an adult to care for the little girl in me in a
Yeah.
way that, one, the little girl needed, and then
Yeah.
two, the way the adult in me, my adult version self,
Yeah.
needed in order for me to move forward or to take the next step in my healing journey. If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
That makes very much, that's perfect. That's beautiful. Um, so you did say, speaking of your daughter, that she pushes buttons that you
Oh
didn't
yeah.
even know you had. Can you
Oh
share a
yeah.
moment that brought that to life for you?
Ooh, patience, um, control. So
Mm,
I didn't realize how much um, the structure that I grew up in required lots of control and structure. Kind of like there's a bit of structure around my environment growing up, and
okay.
that kind of translated into my relationship with my daughter, where um, at times I struggled with acknowledging that she was her own person. She had
Mm-hmm.
her own thoughts. She is her own human being. She has agency over her own body.
Yep.
My job as her parent, as her mom, is to help to facilitate her process, her journey of
Yeah.
getting through life. And facilitating that just simply means either giving her tools to navigate the world, um, giving her space to explore her emotions,
Mm-hmm.
um, or if she has ideas, whether I think they're crazy or not, give her the opportunity to explore them.
Yeah.
So I found that I had to relinquish a lot of control, areas where I felt like I was doing it to protect me or protect her. And then I
Right.
realized it's none of those things. There's not a protection. I'm not protecting anyone. In fact, I'm inhibiting her and
Yeah.
teaching her that she can never be her full self, right?
Yeah.
So those are the types of buttons that she would push, and I would it would challenge me to look at it from a different lens, a different perspective,
Yeah.
and then create. We work together to create a space where, one, it's important to me that she feels seen and she feels heard, because I grew up in a space where kids are seen and not heard, and so you know but in doing that, it creates
Yeah.
opportunities for her to test them, like, say, what now?
Yeah.
What you saying?
Right,
Okay.
right. Well, with that tone, I was gonna say the same thing for me, because I raised my daughter similarly to how you're raising yours, because seen not heard, you weren't
Mhm.
allowed to have emotions, you couldn't be upset or anything, fix your face, those types of things.
Right.
And it was important for me to give my daughter permission to be able to feel and express and have opinions. And it
Yes.
was important for me as a mother to remember to apologize if I was wrong, things like that.
Mhm.
Crucial, crucial when raising your children. And how lucky are we that we saw it? Because some people just perpetuate the cycle,
Mhm.
right? And we said, okay, this stops with
Mhm.
us, so we
Yes.
can make sure the generations coming after us are healthy.
Yes. I love the way you
Yeah,
said that.
yeah. So let's go deeper into realities of motherhood and healing. Why do you think so many moms carry guilt around taking care of themselves?
I think it's a loaded question. And but I'll give you my opinion and from what I've seen in research and that some of the data is suggested. In the US, in the West, we typically have this culture where it's all about, hustle. You hustle, you
Mm-hmm.
hustle. If you're feeling untired, like you're feeling tired or unmotivated, you push through.
Yep.
You just grind, and that's what we've been taught to do. And if we don't have people around us to bring some balance to, um, hey, you can grind when it's appropriate, but there are times when you need rest, then
Yes.
we continue to perpetuate that ideology and thought process. That's one side of things. And then when it comes to, for women, women's rights. We've been fighting for so long to be
Mm-hmm.
seen as an equal. And so we go out in the workforce, and then we can do all of these things. But then I think
Right.
there's this pressure that we put on ourselves where we feel like, well, we it's like a cape. I felt like that's how I felt like when I, like
Yeah.
last year. It was like I'm taking this proverbial cape off,
Mm-hmm.
because what it teaches us is, and we get adopted this mindset that if we are not allowed to ask for help, that we are not allowed to show that we need help, or show,
Right.
and this is specifically with Black women.
Black women.
Yep, that we are not allowed to feel, and so we just push through. And
Yeah.
then when we start to feel the things, then we start to like our it's called um, dissonance. So our realities and our minds are playing tricks on us, right?
Hmm.
There's one thing, our mind is telling us something else than what we see in reality, and so our bodies are actually like really tired, but we feel like if we stop, we're disappointing someone, or we
Yeah.
stop, we're disappointing the family, or we're disappointing the kid, or all the other things that's happening around us. And then in the Black community too, we we just there's so much generational stuff that we carry that we don't even
Yeah.
recognize, and we don't
Yeah.
acknowledge, and we don't take time to think about or to process. So I think all of those things are combined. It contributes to our idea or thoughts around
Yeah.
rest, because we think that we are not deserving of it. Or if we do take rest, that things are going to fall apart. And
Yeah.
until we take the time, that's when we realize, oh shoot, the world is still
It still
moving.
keeps churning.
Yep, it's churning. Actually feel better, right?
Right.
I'm actually starting to notice things in my body, and now I feel a little bit more connected with myself. And the
Yeah.
more connected I feel with myself, then I can actually pour more into the people around me and give them a more authentic version of myself. So, like, until we do it, we don't realize how beneficial it can be. So, I think a big part in a to sum it all up. I think it's the mindset that we have. We
Yeah.
are not adopting the thought that we can rest too.
Yeah. We don't have to be superheroes. We don't have to be superwoman. And I think in Janla Van Zant, and I think I'm using this correctly, she used the phrase our pathology, that we're
Mm-hmm.
carrying things from generations and generations. And until one of us down the line does the work, like all of that stuff just like gets poured into the next. And like you said, we don't even know we're carrying it. We don't
Mm-hmm.
even know where the guilt comes from. It's like, why do I feel guilty for taking a nap? Why do I feel like, so until I love the fact that we're getting to the point that people are starting to take care of themselves. Self-care has become important. We're starting to go to therapy. Just think of how many generations back, how far it goes. And you may be the first in your family. I know I'm the first in my family to
Mm-hmm.
really take, wellness and mental health seriously and look at, what's been weighing me down and do something about it and make it lighter. Because I don't want my daughter carrying that. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want her, and I can already see she's in her 30s now, and I can see how much lighter things, and it may not, I don't know, I'm not her, but it just feels like she's not carrying, her issues are different issues. We're not never going to have problems, but they're just different. They're not these. She's big on her naps. She's good on going to get her massages. She's fine with, letting the kids go to grandma and having time to herself. So without that guilt. So I say bravo to me to make sure that
Yay.
she understands that that's important. And that's our job, right? As moms.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this morning because epigenetics is what you're talking about. So the generational trauma. And
Hmm.
think about it, like when your grandmother was pregnant, you were already a thing. Like you were
Yeah.
in your mom's womb, right?
Yeah.
Because we were born as women with
Yeah. With
our
our
eggs,
eggs.
right? So even your great grandmother, you have lineage to that. So whatever she was going through emotionally,
Yeah.
that in some way carries through because
Yeah.
you're in the womb. And I think that even goes back one more generation. So it's like, I don't want to, like, I geek out about these things, and I recognize that not everyone else or not everyone has the capacity to think about it in that way.
Yeah.
But it's it's just something it's something really beautiful when it feels like an awakening, when you can realize, like, wait a minute, I can disrupt patterns,
Hmm.
and I can do that through doing things that's considered unconventional.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's magical. And I just feel like collectively there is an awakening happening,
Yeah.
especially amongst Black women, and especially with everything that's going on now, like in our country and things like that. I almost feel like, well, it did have to happen the way it's happened. And Black women did, people needed to see who we are in this country and what we do for this country. And the fact that we've decided, as you put it, we took off those capes. And I saw someone say, we took off our capes and we turned it into a blanket. And we're now
Yeah.
using those capes for ourselves. And
Yeah.
we're pampering and mothering ourselves and just taking the time to pause and rest. And I'm here for it.
Yes. I love it. I love to see it. I'm really excited.
Yeah. So you created MyCircle to give
Mhm.
moms permission to pause. What do you say to the woman who still believes rest is a luxury she can't afford?
Huh. What do I say to the woman who thinks rest is a luxury she cannot
She can't
afford?
afford.
I'm going to say, why do you believe that? Um, and once you answer that question, is that belief system rooted from you, or are you getting that from somewhere else?
Hmm.
Um, our mental health, mental health is it's not a luxury. We need, and when I talk about self-care in this context, when and pause or rest, we're not talking specifically about, I heard you talk about like going get a massage. Those things are good. Getting a facial. Those things are good. Getting your nails done. Those things are good too.
Hmm.
What we're talking about at My Circle is, what have you done for your soul today?
Hmm.
And how, if I were to ask you, who are you? Would you really know that question? Would you really know how to answer that? And not thinking about what you were taught how to, what you're supposed to say, but who do you truly identify as, and are you living in that life?
Yeah.
Or if are you taking steps to live that life? And I
Yeah.
think when we when we take the time to do that, we not only, we talk about honesty with ourselves, but we become so much clearer when we talk about what we need with the people we love,
Yeah.
right? It creates so much more space for us to get what, not necessarily get what we want, but to ask and have a knowing that the person, what you're asking for is a deep part of who you are, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's not, it is not a, it's not a luxury at all. It's a
Yeah.
necessity. And when we, you think about those days where you pour your tea, and did you get to drink it while it was hot, or were you running around taking care of something else, and then you reserve that for your, at the end you come back to a cold cup of tea,
Right.
right? Those little things, they add up. And so if you are not getting under the hood and addressing what's under the hood, then I feel like you're at a disservice. You're doing a disservice to yourself. You're doing a disservice to your
And
children.
hmm,
You're doing a disservice to your family members, your friends, and all of your social connections.
yeah. I was just thinking about what you just said about asking, who are you really?
Mhm.
And I thought about that, and I think people are afraid to ask themselves that question. One, because I think once you define that, you know that you're responsible for bringing that to life, and then it makes you think about where I am versus who I really am, and how do if who I really am is way over here, it brings some stuff up about your path, about the path you took, about whether or not you've taken steps to get to where you want to be. And it's actually, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think that's something I need to sit down and like answer that question for myself, and say, am I taking the steps to living in that truth? um that was a beautiful, beautiful nugget there. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. It got me thinking. I was like, I need to answer that question for myself. It's scary. I think it can be
It is.
scary. You're
It,
putting yourself on blast, you
it
know?
is.
Yeah.
And one of like I asked myself this question. I was posed with this question a few years ago, and let me tell you, it's the answers that you provide. They will sometimes they can change, right?
Hmm.
But one of the things, when I tell you some of the stuff that came up for me, I was fearful. I was rooted in so much fear
Yeah.
because the person who I thought, or the person who I want to be or I'm becoming, was so much of a shell of the person who I was. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, how am I going to crack that code? And so it's just taking the things that, what I've learned is the things that scared me the most are the things that helped me to get closer to that alignment.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that hits. So, you also said that we're products of our environment, but not defined by it. How does that belief play out in your life or your work?
ooh, um, we are all products of our environment, and it is, while I'm very grateful, and people, like there's this debate around, should you be thankful for the path that you took or the environment that you had. Absolutely, I think there should be gratitude in all aspects of life. um, the product, my environment, I came from a split family. um, I wasn't always, trying to see how much I want to tell you.
As
how
little or
deep
as much, girl.
how deep we gonna go today? Um, the reason why I have that belief is I'm a product of SA. I'm a product of physical abuse. I'm a product of um, dysfunction. However, that environment does not define the person I am, because I get to choose
That's
how I
right.
show up, right?
That's right.
I get to choose what those experiences have over the weight they carry over
Yeah.
me, right? Um, and so we all get to
We
choose.
all get to choose. We all get to choose.
Yes, and that's the beautiful thing, and that's why I feel this work when it comes to creating space for pause and rest. It gives us, we take the permission, or we give ourselves permission, and then it gives us an opportunity for us to
Yeah.
choose. And
Yes.
so that's kind of really all I can say about that. I choose to use what was a part of my environment to
Hmm.
help me support other women,
Yeah.
to help me support other moms, to help me be a better mom,
Yeah.
um, or to be a mom that I never had, you know?
Yeah.
So I hope I answered that question.
You did. That was powerful. And you're right. We get and everyone gets the same opportunity to choose. It's whether or not you take that opportunity, that's also your choice. So
Mm-hmm.
everyone's choosing at all times. We're choosing. That was powerful. So let's talk about the work you've built. this gorgeous container for healing called MyCircle. So tell us about the retreats. Like, what actually happens in those 7 days, and what's the energy you want women to walk away with?
So these amazing locations in Africa. So I have two locations in Africa: Mozambique and Zimbabwe. So Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe, and then Blanca
Mm,
in Mozambique. And these are places I've been. So I first, I went and visited, and the culture, the people, the environment, the ambiance. It is the epitome of you gonna do some resting.
okay. Love that.
um,
Yes.
so these containers are thoughtfully curated. We have over so 7 days, 6 nights, where I'm partnering with local therapists and yoga instructors, um, for facilitating breath work, and we create this environment to allow moms and women to just be. With
Mhm.
our workshops, it helps you to answer some of those questions that you probably didn't take the time or have been kind of avoiding
Yeah.
because of whatever reason.
Hmm.
We create the space for you to be able to do that. And then I think I may have mentioned that there's a trauma informed therapist on board, primarily because as a trauma person, a person who suffered from trauma my own self, I recognize that with so 2 and 3 kids before the age of 16 experience something traumatic in their childhood.
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3. And we're not talking about SA, or
Yeah.
not solely SA or physical abuse. It could come in
Right.
forms of emotional trauma,
Hmm.
having the loss of someone. So we all go through stuff that if we don't take time to process that, it
Yeah.
shows up in our adulthood. And the reason why it does it is because about 80% of our brain, whatever we get in those 16, 18 years, is
Yeah.
formed by the time we're 18. And as adults, 99 or say 95% of what we do is from that programming. So we're on autopilot most of the time,
Yeah.
right? So
Wow.
when we take time to sit and pause and have those thoughts, or when you're asked questions, specific questions to help you reconcile the person, your identity, it's so important to have a therapist on board.
Yeah. I would
So
imagine. Yeah.
we thought about that, and so it's a time to just um, to rest. It's a time to decompress. It's a time to heal. It's a time to have fun. We have fun excursions. There's yoga, specifically in Zimbabwe. There's
Mm,
yoga on the Zambezi River, and like you're immersed in nature, and it's in it that in itself. And then as a Black person in Africa, I think Africa is healing as a whole.
yeah.
So um, our goal is to have moms walk away from our experiences feeling so refreshed, feeling reconnected, feeling like they have a new lease on their lives and their identity, and they can walk in confidence about who they are and then what they want to be.
I need to send my daughter to your retreat. I did, because I'm thinking about her now. I want her. She has twins, and she's young, married, doing the career stuff, and I'm like, I think that she would totally benefit from that. It sounds. I mean, I would. I mean, I'm still technically a mom, even though she's an adult, but that just sounds magical. Like I could see it all in my head. Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
send her over. We can talk.
Yeah, we need to talk. Yeah. So, what does it really look like to create a space where moms can be raw and messy and vulnerable and still feel held? And how do you make sure that you're being held too as a facilitator?
Ooh, good question. So, when it comes to the moms and creating this safe space, I talked about like having the team right on board.
Mhm.
Um, the space that I am trying or working to create is for folks to feel seen. We don't have any judgment, right?
Yeah. Right.
So the people who are attending are people who, one, recognize that they also have some stuff, and that we all have some stuff, and that within this container, this is the space where we can say and all the things that we've been holding on to, that
Yeah.
we've been apprehensive to share, we can do that in this space. And or if you don't want to share it audibly, you have other
Yeah.
means of communicating that.
Yeah.
So there's one-on-one therapy, there's group therapy. So there's an intentional space, and I hope that I'm answering this in its totality, but the space is so intentional about allowing people to just be without
Hmm.
judgment.
Yeah.
That's the I feel like that will enclose and like get you engulfed and feel like you're wrapped in a blanket, and that
Yeah.
you can express yourself in whatever ways that feels the most comfortable to you. There's no pressure to do
Yeah.
anything other than what feels good for you in that moment, and
Yeah.
knowing that that is okay. And then for me as a facilitator, um, I have a team around me, right?
Hmm.
So I recognize. I don't know who I was talking to this week, but like it's this thing about who helps the therapist kind of deal,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? So I recognize too is that like it's so important to, as I'm holding space for other moms to feel seen, that I also need to hold space for me to feel seen. And sometimes it means that I sit with my own self.
Yeah.
Sometimes it means that I just create, I'm intentional about the time that I take with myself to feel more connected. And when I feel like I need a little bit more support, I go to those people to get that support.
Yeah. It's beautiful to have that support system with you. And I love it when you mentioned knowing that the people around you, even the facilitator, the therapist, everybody has their stuff. So no one's walking around like they have it all together. And I think that was one of the things, well, I know that was one of the things that initially helped me back in my work as a sound healer, because I felt like I had to be perfect. I felt like I had to be completely healed and have it all figured out for people to be able to come to me. But I'm like, healing is an ongoing thing, and you're never going to have it all figured out, but you can learn, you can learn tools, and there are methods to help you, walk that path and help you, grow. So yeah, making sure people understand that they're not being judged, and that everybody is kind of walking in a similar, everybody has their stuff
Yeah,
basically.
yeah,
Yeah, in that container. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. It's hard doing healing work when you're healing
yes,
still.
yeah,
Yeah, but it's also beautiful.
yes. And to your point, like, I was just talking to my partner about this because there are some topics where we've been talking about for a long time. And it's, when I say a long time, over a few years. And so the theme or what comes up is like, listen, the layer that you healed 10 years ago, there are layers to this thing. Like, no
Right.
one, when you address something in the healing journey, it's never like you close the book and
Like,
you walk away. That's not
done.
how it works.
Yeah.
It's not how it works because there's so many layers to this. So healing is a continuum, and I say it's a journey.
Yeah.
And I love that you shared, that vulnerability about your being a sound healer and feeling like you couldn't, or you had apprehension
Yeah.
to share in that space. But I think what you do is so amazing. And yes,
Thank you.
we it's something like I need to also have to get over is like we all healing
Yeah.
at some degree. We are all healing, and so
Yeah.
it's okay.
It's all right. It's all right. And
Yeah,
quite honestly, if you came across someone, a facilitator or a healer, who thought they had it all together and were run,
Mhm.
Run for the hills, sweetheart, because they about to
Yeah.
sell you some snake oil. Yes. Goodness. So I also read when I was reading your backstory that you mentioned you're still finding your people.
I
What
am.
what has it felt like to build something before the crowd shows up? Because I've had a similar walk.
It's lonely sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it feels very isolating. And there's in this window, there's lots of opportunity of doubt. Doubt comes up quite a bit. Um, Fear was a big part in the very beginning. I think I've gotten a lot better with managing the fear.
Yeah.
Um, but it's one of those things. Like, so when we first talked earlier today, right, and I shared
Mm-hmm.
about what I do, and you're like, oh my gosh, I wish there was something like this when I was, I had
Yeah.
a younger
A young
child.
mother. Yeah.
I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like one of those things where it's that nugget that you shared was just like an affirmation for me, like, okay, I'll continue to build it. And the people who will need it just will have confidence that there's been a lot of thought
Yeah.
that's put into this, and when they come, I'll be ready. Because in this process too, I'm also working on um, my own healing too, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I found, like with my mindset. I talked about mindset earlier, and
Yeah.
you would think that okay, you work on your mindset and you've adopted this thing and like, oh, I'm going to be a business, I'm going to run a business and have become an entrepreneur. But there's so, again, layers. There's so many layers to that decision and the mindset that goes along with that. And so um, I am remaining hopeful and
Yeah.
I am encouraged. And while I'm experiencing those things, I am also there are moments when I have doubt.
Yeah.
Um, but all in all, I really do feel strongly about the work that I do. I feel strongly that there's a place for it in this world. I feel very strongly that um, moms could deeply benefit from this work.
Yeah.
And what makes me really excited is even just thinking about like we're dealing with present day moms, but then the kids will see this and we'll get
Yeah.
YouTube to teach them, and then the next generation. So, I see, I'm inspired by the vision.
Yeah.
The vision is what keeps me going.
The vision is what keeps you going. And it has to, right? It has to sustain you. I had similar, starting my business as a sound healer. I try to write a blog every week or so. I'm not great at it. But the last blog I wrote was called The Sacred Messy Middle. And that's where I am now because I'm not at the beginning of this venture where everything is in front of me and it's exciting and I have all these ideas and I don't know what the end is going to be. I don't know, it's not, the vision hasn't completely alchemized, but I'm in this messy middle where I'm like, did I make the right decision? Are people going to show up? And then I'll get drop ins or something will happen to reinforce that, yes,
Mhm.
this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And if you can just survive the messy middle,
Yeah,
there are
yeah,
good things that are going to come from it. So it sounds like you're kind of like in that you're not quite at the beginning, but the vision isn't exactly what you've envisioned just yet. But keep going because it's coming. Your people are
thank
coming.
you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And the
Yeah.
same, and like, like with us,
Yeah.
like us connecting, I feel like that in a way is some type of divine interact. Like it's a drop in
Yeah.
where I've not say picked up because you weren't lost or anything, but you like I see on the side of the room and pick you up. No, but it was more of I have connected with another sister in
Mhm.
this space that's holding like you're holding very sacred space for supporting the same healing, and it's like yay.
Yeah.
Before, being when you're doing it and you're kind of feeling like you're alone and in isolation, when you start to see other people who are doing it, it's like yes,
Yes.
there's a community. And so I am loving that about this journey and this experience and in this moment.
Yeah. And people that you would have never met otherwise, the people that come into your life to encourage you, to collaborate with you, to give you ideas. And it's only been a year for me in
Yeah.
this walk. And the people that I've met, even down to Cami and the Dear Black Woman, group has just been like this beautiful, um, I guess affirmation that I'm on the right track. God is
Mhm.
bringing in the people that need to be in my life for this walk to feel good for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been lovely. So I'll ask this of you: what does success look like for you in this season? And I'm gonna add on that. How has that definition changed over time as you've been working on the retreats and
Whew.
things like that?
So I found actually did a post on LinkedIn about this. So success is, I'm in the process of deconstructing. So there's I think, I don't know, every couple months, every couple weeks, depending on the week, depending on the month of the season, there's a deconstruction of what that success is. And for me, I will say that it's simply if I can heal, not just heal, but if I can touch the life of one person, I feel like
Yeah,
that's success. Like I am not motivated by having like these really um, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not ambitious, but it's not. I'm not looking for like these real lofty goals that I'm trying to
right.
accomplish. I am just, for me, what success would look like is simply holding space and someone shows up
Yeah,
and they walk away with something that they didn't have before, and that's winning for me.
yeah.
So I'm redefining what success looks
Success
like,
looks like. Yeah,
right? And I'm not using societal standards and not
right.
using revenue to dictate what my success is, because this is not about that. It's about the lives of people and the
Yeah,
transformation of those lives and the support that comes with that and the community that comes with that.
yeah,
And as a byproduct of that community, like my life is also enriched. So I think it's the measuring stick is more so about the enrichment of my life and the lives of others.
yeah. And you know what? And when we do that, even touching one person and another person, I know it's going to sound like corny, but it really is changing the world in a small, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Our world, at least, it's like it's doing something to change the world. And it's always been my prayer, like all these years trying to figure out, God, what would you have me do to make an impact on the world that's beneficial to this world and not just adding to this, you know, corporate, um, money hungry society that we have. How can I be a blessing to
Right.
someone and fill my cup as well? So yeah, we're changing the world.
Yay! Yes, we are.
We're changing the
One person
world.
at a time.
One person at a time, one mom at a time, one soul at a time. So what do you hope your daughter learns from watching you do this work?
Oh my gosh. I hope that she learns to have self agency, learn how to feel her emotions and have confidence in expressing them.
Yeah.
And knowing that the person she is more than enough. And she is a light to the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we're going to fast forward. It's 5 years from now. What's your dream for my circle?
Ooh, my dream for my circle in 5 years is to expand some more a global reach. So instead, potentially instead of working only in Africa,
Mm-hmm.
going all across the globe,
Mm,
supporting hundreds of women, um, And not just through the retreats, but through like supplemental community building after the retreats to support the journey that they're on,
Yeah.
the women, and building a community of women who they smile because they are assured of who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
a beautiful,
that's
beautiful dream. And I can see it for you, Misha. I can see it. I could see this, you have my circles in all the states and major cities, and you guys come together for your annual big retreats. That it could be a beautiful, beautiful thing. And my prayer is that it expands exactly the way you want it to.
thank you.
Last question. If a mom is listening right now, drowning in guilt and exhaustion, what's the first thing you'd want her to hear from you?
You are. It's okay. Don't beat yourself up. Um, just know that what got you here, you can choose. You have the choice um, to dismantle what you think or dismantle what got you here to this point. Whatever belief system that you have that got you to this point, you can shift that.
And sometimes they just don't know that they can, that they have the power to.
The power is all in you. You are so powerful. You have no idea.
No idea. No idea how powerful you are. You could change your life like that. It's a decision away,
Mhm.
girl. So I've enjoyed this conversation. In this conversation, there are questions I'm taking out of this that I'm going to ask myself and put some things into motion myself, like sit with them, think about it, and do a little digging for me. And even talking to my daughter too
Mhm.
about it. Yeah, you've got something beautiful happening. You
Thank
do.
you. And if you ever want to just like talk after this, I'm here.
Yeah, I think I may want to. I think I may want to. Because I think you said you're going to be in Atlanta, right?
I
in
will be.
in May, and I may or may not be here. I need to check with my sisters to see if we're still doing Sister Weekend, because that means me going to Ohio. But if I'm here, I definitely would love to see you in person and give you a big old hug.
Yeah.
But before I let you go, I want you to tell everybody how to reach you. What's your socials, your social media, your website information. Give us all that.
So you can find me at mycircleretreats.com. So that's directly at my website. You can also find me on Instagram. Same me. You can find My Circle on Instagram, as well as Facebook and Threads at My Circle Retreats. And then that's primarily it for now. And yeah, that's primarily it for now. But you can find me on mycircleretreats.com to find more information about my retreats and what other services and options I provide.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Misha. This was a beautiful discussion, and I wish you so many blessings and success with MyCircle Retreats. And I'm telling you, if you build it, they will come. Those moms are out there. You're gonna find your people.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I loved
Thank you
our
for being here.
conversation. And hopefully
It
we
was
get to see each
beautiful.
other really
And
soon.
hopefully we get to see each other at the end of the month. Yes. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank
All right.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And that was today's episode of 10 Dimensions of Wellness. A special thank you to the beautiful Meisha Pon for her heartfelt honesty and work in holding space for mothers who are seeking healing. That one got me a little emotional. Her reminder that our emotional responses are often rooted in early experiences and that healing those wounds can unlock healthier relationships is a message we can all carry. So follow Meisha and MyCircle Retreats on Instagram and Facebook at MyCircle Retreats, or visit mycircleretreats.com to learn more about upcoming retreats or to download the 7-day reset experience. And remember, wellness is a lifelong practice. Keep listening to your needs and give yourself the space to grow. I'll see you next time. Bye.